They told me the bodies would be frozen. They didn't mention they'd still be warm. I kept the tissue samples they said were destroyed. Every night, I check the freezer, and they're still growing. This is my statement regarding Operation Iceberg, conducted November 1993 in the Bering Sea. The official report lists equipment failure and hypothermia as cause for mission termination. That's not what happened. What we found down there wasn't a derelict Soviet submarine. It was a preservation chamber, and whatever process kept those men alive for 40 years is still active. I'm speaking now because 3 members of my dive team have disappeared in the last month, and I know they're coming for the rest of us. My name is Petty Officer First Class Marcus Reeves, USN Dive and Salvage Unit 7, stationed at Naval Station Adak. In November 1993, we received orders to investigate sonar contacts consistent with a Foxtrot-class Soviet submarine, designated Target Sierra 4, located at depth 180 feet, grid reference 58-14 SAN, 178-23 W. The vessel matched profiles for K429, reported lost with all hands during Arctic patrol operations, October 1953. The briefing was standard. Commander Walsh laid out navigational charts in the wardroom, marking the debris field with red grease pencil. Water temperature, 34° Fahrenheit. Bottom composition, volcanic sand over basalt shelf. Mission parameters, external hull survey, photographic documentation, body recovery if feasible. Duration, 72 hours maximum. Radio check-ins every 30 minutes on primary frequency 243.0. Emergency ascent protocol if visibility dropped below 3 feet. My team consisted of 5 personnel. Petty Officer Jensen handled surface support, 22 years experience, never missed a safety checklist. Hospital Corpsman Rodriguez managed medical and decontamination protocols. Quiet professional, kept detailed logs in small block handwriting. Seaman Palmer operated the dive bell and mixed gas systems, former commercial diver from the Gulf rigs. Chief Warrant Officer Brooks supervised topside operations and maintained chain of command with Fleet Command. All standard assignments for deep salvage work. We deployed at 0630 hours local time aboard USS Grasp, a TARS-50 rescue and salvage vessel equipped with deep-sea recovery systems. Surface conditions were optimal. Mild chop, visibility 12 nautical miles. Barometric pressure steady at 30-15 inches. Water temperature held consistent at 34 degrees. Salinity levels normal for the region. The dive site was marked with GPS coordinates and confirmed through side-scan sonar imaging. I descended first with Rodriguez as safety diver, using Mark 12 surface-supplied diving equipment with mixed gas breathing apparatus. Our tethers were 200 feet of armored cable with integrated communication lines and emergency air backup. Surface control maintained constant voice contact through hard-wired systems. No radio interference at operational depth. The submarine materialized through the gloom exactly where sonar indicated, resting upright on the seafloor, hull intact, no visible damage to exterior plating. Length approximately 300 feet, beam 25 feet, configuration consistent with 1950s Soviet construction standards. The conning tower showed no collision damage, periscopes retracted, external antennas undamaged. The first anomaly appeared during initial hull inspection. Soviet naval vessels from the 1950s were painted standard gray with red waterline markings. This submarine was black, not from corrosion or algae growth, but a uniform matte coating that seemed to absorb our dive lights instead of reflecting them. Rodriguez tapped his depth gauge and pointed upward, signaling concern about nitrogen narcosis. But my readings showed normal partial pressure parameters. We completed exterior photography in 45 minutes using underwater cameras with high-intensity strobe systems. The hull showed no impact damage, no torpedo strikes, No structural failure points that would indicate combat loss or mechanical casualty. Hull numbers were visible, K429, confirming target identification. The submarine had simply descended to the bottom and remained there, perfectly preserved for 40 years. Surface Control authorized entry through the forward escape hatch after we completed external documentation requirements. Chief Brooks confirmed all safety protocols were met and ordered us to proceed with interior survey, maximum duration 30 minutes, emergency ascent if any contamination indicators detected. That's where the temperature readings started making no sense. Our environmental sensors registered external water temperature at 34 degrees Celsius, standard for the region and depth. But when I manually operated the forward escape hatch wheel, my thermal monitoring equipment spiked to 98 degrees Celsius. Rodriguez confirmed identical readings on his backup instruments. The temperature gradient was impossible. No external heat source could maintain such differential at depth. We reported the discrepancy to Surface Control through hardwired communications. Chief Brooks consulted with Commander Walsh and fleet medical personnel. After 12-minute delay, we received authorization to proceed with modified exposure protocols and continuous environmental monitoring. The interior corridors were completely dry. No water infiltration through hull seals. No condensation on bulkheads. No marine biological growth common in submerged vessels. Emergency lighting systems were fully operational, providing red illumination along passageways exactly as they would during normal submarine operations. But the air wasn't stagnant. Ventilation systems created subtle circulation patterns indicating active environmental control. The first crew member was located in the forward compartment at Navigation Station 3. He was seated in regulation position, wearing standard Soviet naval uniform with proper insignia and rank markings. His skin appeared healthy, pink coloration with normal circulation patterns, no signs of decomposition, freezing damage, or post-mortem changes. His chest rose and fell in regular respiratory cycles, breathing rate approximately 8 breaths per minute. Rodriguez initiated standard medical assessment using non-contact thermal imaging equipment. Body temperature, 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, within normal human parameters. Pulse detection indicated heartbeat at 54 beats per minute, consistent with deep sleep state. Brain activity scanners showed theta wave patterns typical of REM sleep cycles. I attempted to wake him following established medical protocols. No response to verbal commands in English or basic Russian phrases. No response to physical contact, including shoulder shaking and pressure point stimulation. His skin felt warm and yielding, normal human texture and elasticity. When I lifted his eyelid to check pupil response, there was no pupil beneath the surface, just a smooth, reflective membrane that mirrored my dive mask like polished chromium. We documented the finding with photographs and moved aft to the crew quarters. 17 men in individual bunks, all displaying identical characteristics: normal breathing, healthy skin tone, reflective eye membranes. Their positions suggested they had simply laid down to rest during routine sleep rotation. The engine compartment contained 15 crew members at duty stations. Each man was positioned exactly as he would be during normal operations, monitoring gauges, reading instruments, maintaining watch responsibilities. All breathing, all warm, all equipped with mirror eyes. We found the remaining 15 crew members in the control compartment, including the commanding officer at the periscope station. Total count, 47 personnel, matching the standard complement for Foxtrot-class submarines. Every man was alive by all measurable criteria except consciousness and normal visual function. The submarine's operational log was current. Final entry dated November 13, 1993, 05:45 hours, written in precise Cyrillic script. Patrol station maintained. All systems nominal, awaiting orders. The ink appeared fresh, no fading or oxidation typical of 40-year-old documents. Rodriguez discovered that the ship's chronometer displayed correct local time, synchronized with surface operations. Environmental controls showed normal readings for temperature, humidity, and atmospheric pressure. The nuclear reactor was in cold shutdown status, but auxiliary power systems maintained full operational capacity. That's when I understood this wasn't a recovery operation. It was a containment breach. The central ventilation system connected to storage tanks labeled in Cyrillic script, contents listed as Vozduch Specjalny, special air. The tanks maintained internal pressure of 3,000 psi, well above standard breathing air requirements. Distribution lines fed every compartment through dedicated air supplies with individual flow control valves. Each tank was warm to the touch, indicating chemical or biological activity within the compressed atmosphere. The distribution network included filtration systems and chemical scrubbers that appeared to be adding substances rather than removing them from the air supply. Surface control ordered immediate ascent when our bottom time reached 28 minutes. During staged decompression at 120 feet, we monitored the submarine through tethered underwater cameras positioned at the forward and aft sections. At depth, 120 feet, the crew members began moving, slow, coordinated movements, each man turning to face the camera positions with mechanical precision. Their head movements tracked our ascent angle, maintaining visual contact with the camera lenses despite their reflective eye membranes. At depth, 60 feet, they all smiled simultaneously. Identical expressions, showing teeth in perfect alignment. The medical debrief began immediately upon surface return. Navy epidemiologists from Naval Medical Research Unit Detachment 6 conducted examinations in individual isolation chambers aboard USS Grasp. Standard decontamination protocols included full-body chemical wash, respiratory system flushing, and blood sampling for pathogen analysis. Dr. Helen Patterson, Lieutenant Commander Medical Service Corps, administered comprehensive physical examinations and psychological evaluations. She conducted interviews for 18 hours over 3 days, focusing on exposure duration, direct contact protocols, and subjective assessment of biological threats. When I described the crew's synchronized movements and facial expressions, she made detailed notes in a classified file marked Project Icebox, Eyes Only, and immediately changed questioning direction toward my personal stress levels and sleep patterns. Blood analysis revealed elevated concentrations of unknown protein compounds, but Dr. Patterson characterized the findings as likely stress-related immune responses and recommended continued monitoring without medical intervention. She prescribed mild sedatives for sleep regulation and scheduled weekly psychological evaluations. Rodriguez reported similar findings during his examination, but also mentioned persistent taste sensations of oxygenated water and metallic aftertaste that hadn't subsided since the dive. Dr. Patterson documented these symptoms as typical decompression-related sensory distortions and recommended dietary modifications. Palmer complained of recurring dreams featuring underwater environments and difficulty distinguishing between sleeping and waking states. His blood showed the same protein elevations as the rest of the dive team. Medical evaluation listed his condition as adjustment disorder with mixed anxiety and depressed mood. Jensen experienced chronic headaches and reported seeing movement patterns in his peripheral vision, particularly during evening hours. His examination included neurological assessment, but Dr. Patterson found no evidence of decompression sickness or central nervous system damage. Chief Brooks developed tremor in his hands and complained of hearing transmission sounds during quiet periods. His medical file was classified separately from the dive team evaluations, and he was restricted to administrative duties pending completion of specialized testing. 3 weeks after Operation Iceberg, Rodriguez received transfer orders to Naval Medical Center Portsmouth for extended observation and treatment of service-related medical conditions. His departure was immediate, with no opportunity for team contact or personal effects transfer. Palmer was assigned to submarine duty aboard USS Jacksonville, scheduled for deployment to the Pacific Fleet within 72 hours of his transfer orders. He mentioned during final conversation that the assignment was voluntary and that he felt comfortable with underwater operations. Jensen received medical retirement processing for anxiety disorder related to operational stress and relocated to civilian status in Oregon. His retirement was expedited through administrative channels, bypassing standard review procedures. Chief Brooks remained at Naval Station Adak but was transferred from dive operations to base communications, specifically monitoring emergency frequencies for maritime distress calls. His new assignment included overnight watch duties and isolation from dive team personnel. I was assigned to records destruction detail at the base administrative complex. My orders included secure disposal of all photographic materials, operational logs, dive records, and medical summaries related to Target Sierra 4. The destruction process required witness verification and completion certificates filed with Fleet Command. The materials were scheduled for incineration in the base secure disposal facility. I loaded 3 boxes of documents, photographs, and magnetic tape recordings into the industrial furnace unit. The fire burned at 2,000 degrees for 6 hours, reducing everything to ash residue that was collected and disposed of according to classified material protocols. But when I returned the following morning to complete the disposal documentation, the documents had reformed in the burn chamber. Every page intact, photographs undamaged, magnetic tapes functional. Text was crisp and legible, showing no heat damage or degradation. I reported the anomaly to Chief Brooks through proper channels. He ordered a second incineration at higher temperature settings with extended burn duration. The same result occurred: complete reformation of all materials within 12 hours of destruction. The base medical officer, Commander Sarah Mitchell, prescribed sleeping medication after I reported recurring insomnia and dream disruptions. The medication included warnings about potential side effects, but she characterized my symptoms as normal stress response to classified operations. But the medication made the dreams worse. I would wake up at 05:45 hours every night, exactly matching the timestamp from the submarine's final log entry. The taste of salt water filled my mouth, and pressure built behind my eyes like I was experiencing rapid decompression at depth. During these episodes, I could hear transmission sounds, faint voices speaking in Russian, mixed with English phrases using familiar call signs from our dive operation. The voices included Rodriguez's distinctive accent and Palmer's speech patterns, but the words were wrong. Patrol station maintained. Crew transfer protocols initiated. Surface contact authorized. 4 weeks after the operation, I received a letter forwarded through base mail delivery. The envelope showed Rodriguez's return address at Naval Medical Center Portsmouth, handwritten in his precise block script. The contents were brief. Marcus, they're not letting me leave. The doctors say I need more tests, but they don't ask questions anymore. They just watch me through the observation window and take notes. Yesterday I looked in the mirror and my eyes were different. Don't trust the follow-up reports. Burn this letter. P.S. I can still taste the air from down there. I attempted to contact Rodriguez through official channels, but was informed that his medical treatment was classified and that no communication was authorized during his treatment period. When I requested his status through Red Cross family notification systems, they had no record of his admission to Portsmouth. Palmer's submarine, USS Jacksonville, was reported lost with all hands during routine training maneuvers near the Aleutian Trench, December 1993. The incident was attributed to catastrophic hull failure during deep dive operations. No wreckage was recovered, despite extensive search efforts by multiple naval vessels. The casualty report listed Palmer among 127 crew members presumed lost. But the night after the official notification, I received a phone call at 0545 hours. Palmer's voice, clearly identifiable, speaking slowly. Deep operations continuing. Crew adaptation successful. Pressure equalization complete. The line went dead after 20 seconds. Jensen died at his home in Portland, Oregon, March 1994. Cause of death listed as sudden cardiac arrest, no prior medical history of heart conditions. The local coroner noted unusual findings. Jensen's blood contained the same protein compounds identified during our post-dive medical examinations, but at concentrations 10 times higher than originally measured. His sister contacted me after the funeral, mentioning that Jensen had been experiencing problems with his eyes during the weeks before his death. She described incidents where his reflection in mirrors appeared different, showing silvery characteristics that she couldn't explain. Chief Brooks disappeared from base housing during overnight watch duty, April 1994. His duty station at the communications center was found abandoned, with radio equipment still monitoring emergency frequencies from the Bering Sea region. A handwritten note on his desk read, "Gone to check the coordinates. Tell them the crew is ready for transfer." Security investigation found no signs of forced entry or struggle. Brooks's personal effects remained undisturbed, but his diving equipment was missing from base storage. Base security determined he had accessed the dive locker using his authorization codes and signed out complete mixed-gas diving apparatus for emergency operations. The official incident report classified our mission as operational failure due to nitrogen narcosis and equipment malfunction resulting in premature ascent. Target Sierra 4 was designated a permanent navigation hazard and marked off limits to all naval operations. The site coordinates were removed from navigation databases and excluded from maritime traffic routing. But I continued monitoring emergency frequencies using personal radio equipment. Every month, on the anniversary date of our dive operation, radio transmissions appear on frequency 243.0 from grid reference 58D14N, 178D23W. The transmissions last exactly 3 minutes and include multiple voice patterns that match acoustic analysis profiles for Rodriguez, Palmer, and Brooks. Initial transmissions followed standard format. Patrol station maintained, all systems nominal, awaiting orders. But the content evolved over time, including operational updates that suggested ongoing activity. Crew expansion protocols initiated, surface contact established. Transfer authorization requested. Last month, the transmission format changed completely. Rodriguez's voice, unmistakable vocal signatures confirmed through audio analysis. Surface contact established. Dive team recruited. Beginning ascent protocols. Estimated time to operational depth, 72 hours. 3 days later, Rodriguez appeared at my apartment in Norfolk, Virginia. Same naval uniform, same precise posture, same methodical speech patterns. But his skin reflected light with metallic shimmer, and his breath formed frost clouds despite the summer temperature of 85 degrees. When he smiled, his teeth showed the same mirror finish as his eyes. He explained that the dive team needed to complete the mission report, that there were operational details I had failed to include in the official documentation. He said the preservation process required specific maintenance procedures, and that original crew assignments were just the initial phase of a larger operation. I asked about his death certificate from Portsmouth. He replied that death was a temporary assignment status for crew members in good standing, and that medical discharge could be reversed through proper channels. He left after 20 minutes, but not before providing coordinates for a rendezvous point in the Aleutian Islands. He said Palmer and Brooks were waiting, along with the rest of the dive team, and that they needed my expertise for expanded operations in the region. I burned the tissue samples they had ordered destroyed, following the same protocols used for the classified documents. The samples regenerated within hours, showing accelerated cellular growth patterns that defied biological explanation. DNA analysis revealed human genetic markers combined with crystalline formations that created metallic reflection properties. At night, I hear tapping sounds from the laboratory freezer where the samples are stored. The rhythm matches Morse code patterns, spelling out coordinates in the Bering Sea, followed by personnel numbers corresponding to our original dive team roster. The sounds have become more frequent, now occurring during daylight hours. The pattern has expanded to include transmission schedules and operational orders in standard naval communication format. Last week, the tapping included my name and rank, followed by recall to active duty authorized. My sleep cycle is shifted to match submarine watch rotations. I wake automatically at 5:45 hours, feeling pressure behind my eyes and tasting oxygenated water. During these episodes, I can breathe normally while submerged in the bathtub, remaining underwater for extended periods without respiratory distress. My reflection in mirrors shows progressive changes. The iris color has shifted from brown to silver, and bright light creates metallic reflection patterns. When I smile, my teeth show the same mirror finish observed in the submarine crew members. They're coming back to complete the operation. The preservation process requires periodic maintenance cycles, and the original submarine crew was designed as a recruitment and adaptation facility. The entire operation follows established protocols that have been used multiple times in different oceanic regions. If you receive this statement, do not approach grid reference 58°14 and 178°23W under any circumstances. Do not respond to radio transmissions from that coordinate position. The submarine is not abandoned or derelict. It's an active operational facility conducting crew recruitment for expanded maritime operations. The dive team selection process identifies personnel with specific psychological and physiological characteristics suitable for adaptation to underwater environments. The preservation technology allows indefinite operational deployment without surface support requirements. And they still need specialized dive teams for deep water operations. And to be clear, we do not confirm or verify these news reports. This video is an analytical interpretation of the topic and has been fully researched, analyzed, and produced by our team.